There we go. Hello, and welcome to The Woo with Amber. In this podcast, we explore the mystical, intuitive, magic, and alternative. And I bring it together with some more mainstream offerings, things like nervous system regulation and mindset that has helped for all of this to really land in my body, help me to more deeply trust in my body, more deeply trust in myself, my intuitive self. I'm your host, Amber, and I get really lit up when I get to help people more deeply trust their bodies and more deeply trust themselves, their intuitive selves. I do this through body talk sessions where we dive into the energy and we help it get moving, kind of lean into those pieces that feel sticky or maybe afraid to lean into, but leaning in really opens up our chance to move through it and get to the other side where the juiciness, the things that we're desiring are living. So in today's episode, I have Nathalie Jackson here as a special guest, and I'm so excited to have her here. She is a mystic, which I love, guide, initiatrix, devoted to helping individuals break through inner limitations and reclaim their innate power. Through transformational modalities such as firewalk and shadow work facilitation, she leads people deep into their inner landscape where true change begins. She is a creatrix of the 12 archetypes of a powerful woman wheel and the founder of the Woman Unveiled Mystery School, as well as the author of All the Light and Dark Things, which I purchased, and the Oracle deck Unveil the Mythic Feminine. Nathalie is also the founder of Soulfire Academy, Canada's first fire walking school, and steward of sacred land known as Stonehenge in Alberta, which is also cool. So I'm so excited to have you here. And before you get into your story, I just wanted to say that I was so excited to have you when we were taking a similar course together about using our voice, and you were talking about Mary Magdalene and like just feeling like you're really meant to embody her. And it like really struck a chord with me. And so I felt like I needed to have you on here, talk to you. And then I started looking into your astrology and your human design. And you've got so much fire, which I love fire, like fires me up. And it was really interesting looking at her human design because she's stepping into this. But then to have her human design, a piece of her human design show that she is a spiritual teacher shaping the future of women's empowerment on a global scale. And I really do believe she's stepping into that, all these facets. She's meant to be like, yeah, just really hold a lot of people with her presence and her wisdom. And I didn't know it at the time, but when I bought her book, I realized that like Nathalie doesn't hold back. She gives it to you. She gives it to you straight up, raw and real, which I love because I feel like it gives people permission to be with our shadows and just be with like all of ourselves. And so just to give you a little taste of like what her book is like, there's this quote in it that I was just like, oh my God, like this is so good. So it says, we all go through darkness. We all have our dark night of the soul. The difference between those who survive and those who get engulfed by the darkness is courage. Courage to keep going and follow the breadcrumbs back to wholeness. Like I get chills when I read this. This is everything because I feel like we all go through that dark night of the soul. And it really is that courage to be like, no, like this is not where my story ends. I'm gonna figure this shit out and I'm gonna find my way back to myself. So with that, I'm gonna hand it over to Nathalie and I'd love to hear like how did you get into all of this?
Thank you, Amber. Thanks for that amazing introduction. I think you're the first podcast host that I've been on that actually read my, human design and astrology and kind of wove it into a little piece of now a little pocket of wisdom that you carry and hold about me, right? You're a first. Yay. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. It's so,
Oh,
yeah, just such an honor to be able to like get to know you a little more deeply. And like, yeah, I feel like with your fire for sure. You're here to like light shit up, make shit happen.
yeah. Yeah, thank you. I agree. I do light shit up in people's spaces, and that whole concept of the initiatrix, right? The one who initiates another. And initiations don't always feel fluffy and light and sometimes not even kind. It's just like, oh, like life initiates us all of the time. And so I think I want to start back, when you were talking before we began here about childhood and what might be some of the, pieces, maybe the breadcrumbs that led me on this pathway. And the thing that really stands out, I had a really loving childhood. My parents are both still alive. They live 5 minutes from me. And I was raised in a Roman Catholic family. And my parents were like the rebellious Roman Catholics, I would say. They were the ones that had, Neil Donald Walsh's Conversations with God books or the Celestine Prophecy. Like this is still in their library. I went there not long ago. It's still there. And so at about 12 years old, they just realized that that particular path of spirituality wasn't firing me up. Like I really didn't resonate with it. And so they just started handing me these books. I mean, I was just a teenager and they were handing me these books. And then my dad took me to learn transcendental meditation at 13 years old.
Oh my goodness, your parents are so new age. Like, good for them. Okay.
Uh-huh. It's really, when I think back on it now, I'm like, that was really something. He must have seen something early on that was, I don't beat by the same, or I don't like walk by the same rhythm that others walk by. My own drum beat is so different than most people's, and it was from day one. I'm a rebel at heart, and I push edges everywhere. And so it made for kind of a difficult childhood. Sure. Okay. I was not I was not a happy teenager. And then I reached a point in my early 20s of realizing, wow, like there's all of this world available to me. So I actually went into engineering because that's what my uncle, my dad, my others in the family did. Started off my engineering career and met my husband now in engineering school. We've been together 28 years. And then we had our first son when I was 24. And that is the catapult. That is when everything just kind of started to unravel.
Yeah.
Yeah. In kind of, difficult and painful ways, as the unraveling usually goes. Right? I wouldn't say that the unraveling for most people is this beautiful, soft, velvety kind of experience that we go for. It's usually like, your hair is matted and and your fingernails are raw and they're full of dirt. And then you come out of that place a new human, a new person. And so we had a tough go, my oldest son and I. He came into this world, had a brain injury at birth, that led to just a lot of trauma and pain and rage. He had this emotion he just couldn't control in his body. Just like you'd meet anyone who with a brain injury that has uncontrollable emotions. He did from day one. That then led to addictions and I'm really pleased to say that he's 6 months sober. This is the first time.
That's amazing.
It is. First time since he was 15. He's 26 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And he's choosing a different path for himself. And that whole entire journey, I can honestly say, Amber, that whole journey was my initiation of like 26 years. Yeah, it was intense.
That's a long journey.
It is a long journey. And like these ebbs and flows and mountains and valleys of, like really wondering why I became a mother and being angry with the whole concept of motherhood, and then putting all these aspects of myself into shadow, all the compassion, the softness, the gentleness, the nurturing, all of that went into shadow just to survive, just to make it through those first years. And it took a while for that unraveling. Like if you can imagine a tapestry, right? And you're pulling out the threads one by one. Well, it took about 24 years to pull out all the threads until I got to the skeleton of that tapestry, which I would, now looking back, it's the skeleton of who I am, the kind of the core of who I am. Even just not even a year ago, I did a whole rebirthing ceremony for myself, rebirthing myself as a mother. So that,
Wasn't
yeah,
that?
yeah, it was really deep. It was really profound. But my first experience as a mother led me down this really painful trajectory. And then 24 years later, I got to have another experience, rebirthing myself how I wanted to rebirth myself. And since then, I've really reclaimed all those soft, nurturing, tender aspects of being mother. And it's rewritten my relationship with my three sons too. I have three sons now. I didn't stop baby making. kept on going because that's me and my, rebellious initiatrix kind of energy, fiery energy. There's got to be, like, I'm just going to keep on going and figure this out. And I don't know that I figured it out. I can't say I figured it out. And where I've come to is I've really reclaimed my whole journey of motherhood as part of my medicine in the world now. Now it's integrated in me, and it's not this thing that I just keep over there. Like, here, I'll do the spiritual work over here, be all big and offer inspiration and lead and guide, and yet I'm not going to tell anybody about my mothering story. And now that mothering story has come into the fullness of who I am. And whew, yeah.
Well, like, what a tough way to be initiated. 26 years of such a challenging chapter, but but it took you to such depths that I'm sure you can hold such depths now.
Yeah, don't shy away from the real dark, the real shameful, the things that people just cannot even tell anyone. I don't shy away from that. And not only shy away from it, I've now gotten to the point where I can create spaces that embrace that so that we can actually move through it and transmute it into and alchemize it. Alchemy will take us through the forge of transformation, if you will. And on the other side of that is another version of ourselves that most people don't even recognize. They don't even recognize who they've become because they're so different now.
Yeah, I really feel that. I like through my experiences so far, I feel like a lot of people, like, you're still the same, but yet you're also so different.
Yeah. Yeah, and both can be true, right? Just like in shadow work, and you even mentioned it earlier, how we can have this experience of mothering, and I can both unconditionally love my children and hate them at the same time. Like, both of it can be part of my experience, and I can kind of, dance this dance. And as long as we have spaces that say, you know what? It's okay that you're having this experience. It's totally natural. There isn't anything wrong with you. Nothing at all, actually. There's nothing you need to fix. This is actually part of your evolution and the forge that life has created for you in your own becoming.
Oh my goodness. I feel like we should just sit with that. Like, I'm sure there's many mothers out there that just to have that permission that you can love your children deeply and hate them at the same time because they challenge you so deeply is so human and so real, and not everyone gives themselves permission to feel all of that.
Exactly. Yeah, and we're really in this culture right now that has idealized mothering in certain forms, right? Like, you're going to have, you're just going to love it, but it doesn't matter what kind of experience you had birthing these children because at least they're here and they're safe and da, da, da. So it's not even honoring the potential trauma that comes, and there's physical trauma in giving birth. and oftentimes we'll just go to that, but here's this here's this beautiful amazing soul that you've stewarded into the earth plane, which is a miracle, and it's incredible. And also, let's honor the pain of the journey. Let's honor what took place even in our body in order to be able to bring this human forth into this earth plane. And so the same goes for all the way throughout the journey of mothering, is how can we honor every single era and season that we're in, including the season when they move away from home. And, we get to have like this newfound freedom. I call it freedom. I think it's amazing. And I'm so grateful my kids got to that point and they're still alive and they're
They're not with me anymore. Thank you, bye.
yes, amazing.
Oh, I love that. Yes, to be able to honor, because for sure there are people that have that like empty nest syndrome or like miss the busyness of the house. But then there's also obviously mothers who are just like, I'm so grateful to have no one needing anything from me. And I just get to be in my own energy. And actually, I'm so excited that they're not here.
Exactly. And the beauty in celebrating that even in the loss of it. So even in the sadness of not being able to, see those young humans every single morning and talk about their day, even in the sadness of it, can I celebrate that they have enough courage within themselves and self, acceptance, and maybe, that like power within the self that makes it possible for them to start a life on their own. So can I celebrate that starting a life on their own, even in my sadness? So again, it's all can be true, right? All can be there in our experience of in our evolution.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I love that so much.
Mhm.
Well, I really, yeah, I appreciate you sharing that piece of your story. And I was looking at your chart again, your astrology chart, and your moon is in Aquarius, and moon is like can be seen as like our feminine archetype as well as our emotional body. So it makes so much sense that you are always a rebellious energy, because Aquarius energy is a rebellious energy.
Yeah.
And I really think your rebellious energy gives permission to the collective to like lean more into their rebellious or
Yeah.
their desire to do it not as would be expected or is designed or thought to be the right way.
Yeah, and challenging that status quo, right? Challenging the expectations of others, maybe even the expectation that we've put on ourselves to like, oh, I have this degree, or I have to go to post-secondary, or, what am I going to do? This is what everybody has always thought I would do because because of my early childhood skill set or whatnot. So challenging all of those boxes and those identities and those masks and all of those imprints takes courage. It isn't easy to do, and I really recognize that with people. And so I found over the years, the more that I can talk about every single edge that I've hit and walked through, and every single mask I've just like torn off myself and thrown into the fire, and even a whole degree that I let go of in order to step into something else. Every single time one of us does that in the collective and shares that story with others, it opens the door for possibilities of like, yeah, okay, maybe there is something else. If someone listening to this isn't feeling fully aligned, or like their career right now isn't all of who they are, like something's missing, I hope maybe the words that we speak here today, Amber, will just light that little bit of fire in them of possibility that maybe there's more to your story, or even another chapter is being written right now, and it might look totally different than the other chapters, and that's okay, because we can just let our past go and rewrite something completely different multiple times, actually, in our lifetime. We want to.
Yeah, like what I feel like those stories of hope, like you said, like light that fire to know like you had an engineering degree. So like on paper, your life path was I'm going to be an engineer.
Yeah.
And now you're not an engineer, not even close.
Not
I
even
guess you're an
close.
engineer of energy, maybe. You're an engineer of hope and of like lighting fire within people, but definitely not a yeah, a typical engineer.
No, I'm not at all. And you know what it's offered me as a whole realm of possibility is the belief that we're only energy. Everything is energy. I mean, I was an electrical engineer, so literally everything is energy, right? From a scientific perspective, you can see the little molecules and they move through and they hit things and they, right? Like we got to see that. So then when I went into the holistic world, and there's, everybody starts talking about everything being energy. Well, I'm like, well, of course everything is energy. Like our thoughts have energy to them. The words that we speak have energy to them. And so there's these vibrations that are constantly being emitted by who we are that are attracting to us something similar, a similar frequency, because like attracts like. That's just the way that it goes. And so, I mean, in some regards, that whole degree kind of set the stage for the belief system, I would say, that I have now, which is that we're limitless and that anything is possible, especially in the realm of like healing and transformation and expansion. And
Oh, I love that. Do you have any, like, I'm like, oh, we could dive into this in so many different ways. Do you have any like stories of transformation that you want to share, or yeah, how the science helped you like really trust that like we just need to move the energy and it's just like a recalibrating of, because the energy can move in whatever way it wants. Like, which direction would you want to go?
oh my goodness, there are a gazillion directions we could go. And the thing that's really like just dropping in right now is that particular like scientific background kind of opened this portal for me, if you will, of when it comes to being able to then shift and transform our beliefs on a subconscious level. Like everything is a program just like a computer. And our whole subconscious is a program just like a computer. So I used to do computer programming back in engineering school. That was a long time ago. Don't ask me to do it now. And
But Qigong.
yeah, exactly. It's gone. It's somewhere in the recesses of my subconscious. And what it offered me is this like realm of possibility of like, if our subconscious works like a computer program, then we could literally just go in there, remove one whole program, put in another whole program, and have like a redo on us on a deep psychological level. And so that belief system led the way for learning like belief reprogramming and theta healing and shadow work. All of it is based on those kind of fundamental understanding that anything can be shifted in our reality when we look to the subconscious first.
Ooh. And how do you integrate that into your work? Obviously, you would, like you said, shadow work, but like, yeah, do you have an example of a maybe something you did for yourself or for a client where you did the subconscious work and you could see the program just basically, it's like, oh my God, it's like I rebooted their system.
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, I do it all of the time. I have kind of an ongoing little dialogue with my higher self. As soon as I recognize I have a subconscious belief that's limiting in any way, it could be like, oh, I don't have the technical know-how, or I can't speak in front of crowds, or any kind of limiting belief. It doesn't matter what it is. I just ask my higher self now to reprogram it. So, I mean, it can be as simple as that.
Okay.
And yeah, so I mean, it can simplify and kind of like funnel down to a really solid, simple step forward when we believe that it's possible.
Yeah.
So I would say the piece that, or the ritual that really shifts people's belief systems is firewalking. And
Ooh.
yeah, and I've seen this happen time and time again, where someone doesn't believe that they can do it. They don't believe in their own inherent capacity or their own power, maybe, or maybe their power has been taken away at some point and they've been silenced, or whatever it might be. Like something as visceral as I have no voice. And they come to the edge of the coals and we work it. And we work it until they can feel that power coming up through the center of the earth, right? And it unlocks something in the voice box. And something opens up, and then they walk across the coals, and then their belief is solidified. then
Mm.
you know that they have in fact changed something. And I've seen people just switch on a dime from one way of being to another way of being because of the magic of power, of fire, I would say. Fire is so powerful.
Yes, it's the catalyst. It's the catalyst for like, is why we have anger. It's like healthy anger is the fire to make the changes to do things differently.
Exactly. And it transmutes in us, right? It alchemizes something in us when we let that anger move through us, or we bring fire in and we let fire just kind of burn away the masks and the limitations and the ways that we've been keeping ourselves small. And we're just not the same person on the other side.
Ooh, yeah. I'm like, I think I could walk on fire, but I'm also like, I
Oh
don't
yeah.
know if I can walk on fire.
I've no doubt that you could.
Oh, wow. Okay. I love that that's what you integrate into your fire walking is that people
Mhm.
get to, yeah, work with a belief system and like engage that fire to shift the belief. And then,
Mhm.
yeah, to have people shift on a dime. Like if
Amazing.
it really, I do believe it is about the belief of it. Like
Mhm.
although sometimes it's not even, like I think about my experience with body talk. I didn't, I don't know if I believed, but there was a part of me that believed enough that was open to it. And then like what she was doing with me energetically and the things she was saying was blowing my mind that there was
Mhm.
like there was no other way to explain it other than like this is going to shift everything. And again, it works at that like subconscious level. And it was like, and I turned on a dime. I went from chronic shoulder pain to no shoulder pain. And I was like,
Amazing.
if someone else told me this story, I wouldn't believe them.
Yeah.
But I was the one that got to live it. And so it was like my initiation to be able to like have that belief that it can be that simple. Like you're just saying, like, just talk to your higher self and just be like, let's shift this. Because there's
Mhm.
a part of me that's just like, just bring in the frequency and it'll shift it. So yeah, I love that.
Yeah, some of the terminology I use is like I download this frequency now. So maybe what I want right now is to really experience abundance or collaboration. I'm really working with collaboration lately of like what it looks like to collaborate with others in a way that's super harmonious and one person isn't in charge of everything, but real collaboration. And
Yeah.
so activating and downloading the frequency of collaboration. It's as simple as that. Making
Yeah.
a command statement of I download the frequency of collaboration.
Ooh.
And something happens inside of us that is potent and hard to really kind of define. And yet everything is energy, right? This is
Yeah.
what comes back to this.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And obviously the collaboration piece, have you been noticing a difference in the way that, or the people you're attracting and the way that you're working with people?
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. And we're really right now we're just navigating like what does it look like to collaborate in a feminine way where we don't necessarily have one person that's in charge and everyone has a designated role and then there's a structure to move forward. It's like the feminine is quite chaotic. The feminine is open to pivoting and to shifting, and we might have been going this way and now we're going this way, and how can we all kind of shift and pivot together and trust the inspiration that comes in any given moment. So
Yeah.
it's really expanding us all into trusting the feminine flow.
Oh, oh my goodness. Like I love that so much. Because yes, 100% feminine is chaos and it's
It is.
not linear and structured. It's not like on this day we're going to do this and on this day we're going to do that. Instead, it sounds like it's more like waiting for the creativity or waiting for the wave or waiting for the like cycle to come through where you're like, now I want to take action on this. How has
Yes.
it felt? Has it felt uh uneasy to the mind?
Oh, yes, and unstable. It can be really I live my own life like that and run my own business like that. No problem. I'm just constantly following inspiration and messages from my guides and I will pivot and I will drop a whole entire program because they want me to go in this direction and I'm just yes. And now to do that as a collective, it's a little destabilizing. It's a little like, well, should someone take the lead? Does someone need to be in charge? Do we have to have structure? And so but it's all women who've been through Women Unveiled. And so that feminine kind of ignition is already in their space. And so we're exploring this whole kind of creation from that feminine ignited place. And it's brand new. It's brand new.
Oh, I love it. But also, yes, it makes sense that the mind is like, what the fuck?
Absolutely. And is confused and and then the inner kind of the masculine energy within wants to take charge and create structure because somebody has to create structure. And what if we allow it to flow and watch what happens?
Cool. Chills with that. I feel like it's like the energy, it's limitless then when you don't have the structure put on it, like what it could expand into and create is there's no limitation anymore. It's just wherever it flows. And what a cool and destabilizing experience.
It really is. And I think, to thread on that, what I would offer maybe for the listeners is this whole concept of glass ceilings. Like, I know when I had my first human design reading, the woman was like, oh, it's right in your incarnational cross that you help people like blast through their glass ceilings. And I was like, well, of course I use that terminology all the time. Like, what are you talking about? Isn't that what all healers do? And she's like, no, it's not. And it dawned on me that I think because of my early childhood programming and the like, oh, if you don't like this path, go choose this path. What about this one? There was the belief that any of those limiting ceilings can just be walked through. We don't even need to smash them. We can just take a step through it and challenge it. And challenge maybe what I thought my life needed to be in order to discover something completely new on the other side. So, what I would offer around that is we all have glass ceilings. Figure out what yours is, and then find a way to challenge that, to break through it, and to discover something totally new about yourself, because it's possible.
Ooh, I feel like that's such a great segue for me. I feel like my glass ceiling has been around like sexuality lately and like my own sexuality. And I'm like stepping through the door, but so fucking scared.
Oh yeah.
But then there's like been so much beautiful awarenesses that has come through taking that scary step. And we were talking earlier that you actually have something similar to what I'm navigating right now, the like looking to understand our sexuality and more spiritual, deeper understanding, kind of like what is it that actually works for you? Because I'd say most mainstream sex is very sexual in nature and is very much catered to people that are just very about the genitals and like the orgasm, and it's like, but not about how it can be more expansive and it can be different, and it doesn't have to just be, again, that one path that we seem to all be on. There's actually more to it. So I'd love to hear your experience with your program or your offering.
Absolutely. What I would offer to that is that there are multiple doorways, if you will, to access the realm of sexuality for each one of us. And so we all have kind of a primary way that we access our sexuality, or that we turn on eros inside of us. Which is like, if you can imagine eros being like the life force energy that animates the entire universe. So it isn't just about sex. It's about life. It's about vitality. It's about vibrancy and radiance and all of these like amazing, like, oh, doesn't that sound like fun? Like, of course I want more of that. But what we've done as a culture is, because we've commoditized or we've made sex about money, right? There's like this really limiting doorway that most people think sex needs to go through, and it has to be about genitals and orgasms. I mean, you teach anyone about orgasms, you could probably make a lot of money doing that, to teach people how to orgasm. So what I want to offer is like, so from this particular model that we've developed, I worked with another shadow work facilitator to develop a whole eros work, is what we called it. And from this particular model, there are 4 entryways into our sexuality. One is the primal entryway, which is exactly what we're talking about. The let's just fuck. It's about the orgasm. The faster we can get there, the better. We can fuck anywhere. It doesn't matter. I don't care how dirty you are or how clean the sheets are. It doesn't matter. None of that is relevant. I just want to get laid. Okay. So there's the primal entryway, right? And if that's not you or me, it probably is others that are listening right now, right? Or maybe one of the 2 or 3 in a partnership or in a polyamorous relationship. And so that's one entryway in. But there are 3 others. So another entryway in would be through the heart, would be the romantic. One that wants to know that they're cared for and that they're loved and that you're going to be there on the other side of the orgasm and you're going to hold me. And I can cry in your arms if that's what's needed and what's moving through me in the moment. So there's the romantic entryway of like, I need to know that there's love in this, or at least there's mutual respect and care.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's 2 other ones.
Okay.
So then we have the realm of the idealist, which I think is probably what you are, which would be like, just from a little bit of what you said, which would be all about the energy. Yeah. Now let's expand ourselves. Let's grow in some way. Let's grow even spiritually. This is the whole realm of Tantra. The whole realm of Tantra lives there. How can sex be a doorway into spirituality and cosmic oneness and unity? And we can feel that with each other. And can you feel that? Like, it's like, wow. Yeah, amazing. That too is another doorway. There's another one that's lesser talked about, which is, yeah, you want to know?
Yeah.
So the 4th is what we call the navigator, which would be the one who uses the mental realm as an access point. So this would be about like kink, and anytime we bring in power dynamics, we're gonna go to all of these edges, but I'm gonna make sure, or the person who accesses through the navigator is gonna make sure it's safe enough. We're going to have really good agreements. We're going to talk about it. We're going to create a whole scene around it. Make sure it's safe enough, right? And then we're going to go to those edges, and they're going to be risky and like maybe even dangerous, right? But we've created good containment for it through the mental body. So each one of these realms is a way in. And what I've really noticed over the years, Amber, is that in partnership, right? People come together, and if sex is a part of a relationship and one person has one way in and another person has another way in, oftentimes there'll be some like self judgment around it. Oh, maybe maybe I don't want sex enough, or it's not just about the fucking. And so now I'm judging myself, and I'm kind of condemning myself, and I'm spiraling into I'm not good enough, or I'm not worthy of this, or I'm not.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like so many sexual partners, or for the most part, are likely not the same, like opposites attract. So they likely are not the same. And then they don't have that language to be able to even understand themselves to explain it. Like they just know it's not right, or it's creating frustration, or it's
Exactly.
there's that tension, and then we don't know where to start to be able to untangle it, and it can just
It can lead to
although
so much
for you it
disharmony.
sounds like did you stumble upon this through your own relationship with your husband, or was it like a download, or just like exploring other like people's offerings?
Oh, that's such a great question. So I went into the realm of shadow work and became a shadow work facilitator. And by this time I was already married about, I don't know, 15 years or something. And for anyone who's listening who's been in long-term relationships, there is an ebb and a flow in long-term relationships. Sometimes we're roommates, sometimes we're passionate lovers, like we've met for the same, for the first time ever, and it's amazing, and we're doing all this new stuff, and then 6 months later we're back to being roommates. Like, it isn't a constant, the flame is burning like a bonfire forever. I don't know that is the way for in most relationships. Like most relationships have these ups and downs. And so I was in a long, particularly stale period in our relationship, wondering how are we going to ignite this again? Are we supposed to be together? And starting to even like fantasize about other people and being like, oh, maybe others can bring more of that fire back in me. And I was at the same time going through shadow work. So there were a few others within the shadow work community who were also really interested in sexual shadows. Like it was a real kind of like point of curiosity, and they've dived into all of these teachings and these books and all the things. So we got together and we created a bit of a mastermind group together where we started exploring sex and shadows. And how does it show up here? And how does it show up there? And what about our relationships? And so we got really real about what was going on in our relationships. And it was all different kinds of relationships. So some were polyamorous, some were single. I was in a long-term monogamous relationship. And we came down to, like, we disseminated it down to this structure that was similar for all of us. Essentially, that we have different ways in. And we can kind of nurture that within ourselves.
Ooh, I love that. And yes, totally. We can nurture it in ourselves. Like we don't even need our partner per se. If you understand what your body needs to like start to light up that life force, then you can already be in a place that is like open and receptive.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like for me, I know for me, one of my core wounds has to do with value. And so if I'm not feeling valuable, if my business isn't going really well, or I haven't had a lot of clients and I can really, there's this like, oh, I'm in a low place and my little inner one who doesn't feel valuable is being activated, then I can tell you right now, I'm not going to get turned on. It doesn't, like I can't even enter into, mine would be more the idealist or the romantic, about energy or about heart. Like those are closer to my access points for sexuality. But that's my inner worthiness wound is activated. So if that little one in me is activated, then I'm not stepping through those doorways. I don't feel sexy. I don't feel wanted. I don't even know if I want me.
Yeah.
So then I look there first. I nurture her inside of me first and like remind that little 4-year-old in me that she's valuable just for breathing, just for being here on planet Earth right now. It doesn't matter what's happening in your business. Nothing else matters. That she's enough just the way that she is. And then if I can reparent that little inside of me, then I come back to a stable, neutral place in me. And then those doors are open again.
I love that. I love that all your work has brought you to that place to better understand yourself, to know what you need in those moments when you're not feeling your best or sexiest or most open to receiving. So that's really beautiful how the shadow work has brought you to that place, and then having the vulnerability to come into like a collective and really air it all out there to get clear on like, okay, what is everyone missing or needing, and having people be able to see you in it, because I find that outside perspective at times is really supportive in being able to maybe see those things that you're blind to. And if like, I guess it depends on the person, but like if they can like offer to you in a way that you can really receive it as well, and then be able to sit with it and just call in a shift. Let's do it. Let's reprogram it. Let's take that program out and let's put a new one in.
And yeah, and the awareness, and this is where I would offer, if anyone's having potentially some roadblocks when it comes to sexuality, especially in relation to another, like those are two, as you mentioned, right? Those are two different ways. Like it's first and foremost, how am I being sexual and open to my own sexuality with myself? And then how then does it translate into partnership or relating with another in with regards to sexuality, right? Those are two different kind of pathways for it. And what I would offer is if there are real blocks to that door being opened inside of you, chances are pretty good there's some unhealed wounds there. There's something from childhood that's just surfacing. And my own perspective is if it's surfacing right now, it's because you're ready. It's because it's time. And this
Yeah, I agree with that. Like when it comes up and you're like, I don't have time for this, but it's like actually this is the perfect time for this,
this is the
whether
time.
whether
Yeah.
or not you feel ready.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah,
the subconscious mind won't even release it until you're ready to actually do something with it. So go there first and then watch as like circuitry starts to shift and openings start to happen inside the body and miracles can take place when we go to the core.
yeah, yeah. Oh, I love that. Oh, well, this has been amazing to talk to you about all these things, talk to you about your journey, motherhood initiation, and like that permission to let people feel so raw in motherhood and let it all be okay and know that it's a part of their initiation and then like that piece into the sexuality and the firewalking. Like I appreciate all of this. To any of our listeners who are in a season of, yeah, looking to dive deeper, like look to do shadow work, whether it be with their sexuality or in motherhood or in like using firewalking to help like recircuit, take it out, rewire. What advice would you give to the listeners?
There is a really beautiful book called Come As You Are by Emily Nagoski around sexuality, right? And something she says in there, I quote her all the time. And she basically says like there is nothing broken about your sexuality. There
Mm,
is nothing wrong with you even if it's totally shut down. It's just an indication of where the brakes are and the accelerator and there's like a whole realm of possibility available to you if you're willing to dive into that pond, and explore it a little bit. Now, that was my interpretation of what she just said. Basically, there's
yeah,
nothing wrong with you.
yeah. Yeah, with all of it. Yeah, with the motherhood piece, with if you you feel like you need to go for a walk on the fire to like find your voice again, or your vitality, your sexuality is feeling flat. I love that. There's nothing wrong with you. It's a indication of where you're at, or maybe where needs are maybe needing to be nurtured or supported more.
Absolutely. Yeah, and so keep on going is another, the thread to that is just keep on going, keep on searching for the next little breadcrumb, the next little inspired action, or maybe words of wisdom that come from someone, or keep looking for it and it'll be there.
Yeah. Like I feel like that's the quote from the book. Like we all go through that dark night, and it's the people that have the courage to keep going that come through it and so much changed, but yet more wholly themselves.
Beautifully said. Yeah.
All right, Natalie, if people want to work with you or find you or listen to you more, because I feel like we could listen to you share for hours, where can they find you?
Well, my website is nataliejackson.com and I am offering a free ebook. So especially for women around sacredness and sexuality, it's called Blossom into Your Sacred Wild Self.
Ooh,
Yeah, and it looks at a few of the things that we talked about today and just kind of exploring pleasure, what might be in the way of your own fullest expression.
oh, that's so perfect. I feel like I will go get a copy and I'll definitely add it to the show notes. Amazing. And yeah, I'm grateful for this conversation today and I'm grateful to you and yeah, keep expanding and showing up because I know you are bringing sparkles to the world.
Thank you, Amber. What a joy to be on your podcast. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're so welcome. So yes, if you've enjoyed today's episode, a like or a share is always deeply appreciated. So more people can hear about Natalie, hear about her work, hear about her book, just get to be in her energy. And yeah, just we're grateful that you were here to share with us today. So Until next time, may something intuitive and magical flow to you today.
Mm.